11 months ago, I made a video titled Amphoreus is Disappointing. 11 months later, I can safely say that my opinion on Amphoreus has changed. I don't view Amphoreus as this lackluster region, lackluster planet with uninteresting characters, uninteresting lore, and a reused concept. I now view Amphoreus as something that was kind of like an epic journey. It wasn't the perfect story or a grand masterpiece or something like that, but it was a good story. It was a touching story. I want to say it was a heartwarming story, but I know people would come at me and say that, you see the sufferings that people have, that the characters went through and all, but I don't know, towards the end, like there's this quest at the end, like after you finish the main quest, you have this epilogue kind of stuff which is unvoiced, but if you play through it, you can actually see that there is hope for this planet, and then that's when you feel the heartwarming feeling that you get. Overall, the characters are gorgeous. They are absolutely gorgeous. Like they adopt the Greek influence and then they sometimes mix with the modern stuff, like Tribbie's rocket or Cipher's coins and something like that. It's just really nice. It's a nice concept. I like the characters a lot. My favorite characters in Amphoreus were Aglaea. Like I saw her when she was teased and I just fell in love with her. Like she was the most beautiful character that I've seen in this game, and I still think to this date that Aglaea is the most beautiful character in Honkai Star Rail. I'm biased. But no, after that we had the Herta. I didn't get her, which kind of sucks because I went for her for 3 patches and in all the 3 banners that she's had, I haven't got her. Tribbie was very fun. Mydei was Gilgamesh style. He's kind of like the comedic relief of the story with his Hyacine and the Kremnoan dictionary having no words. Phainon is your best bro. Then you had Castorice, who's kind of like somebody who's an introvert who's trying to learn the ways of the world. Anaxa is your arrogant professor that you would probably see in college. Hyacine is this really cutie pie. Like I don't have any other words to describe her, but Hyacine is very cute. Cipher is somebody you do not want to get on the wrong side of, but I believe that if you have Cipher as your friend, you would be set for life. After Cipher, we got, who was it? We had Phainon after that. Cerydra and Hysilens, those characters, we didn't really get to know much about them. I mean, especially Cerydra, we don't know anything about her except that she was the monarch in the first flame chase or in the very early flame chase cycles, and that's about it. Like even Hoyos didn't deep dive into Cerydra's character. But for Hysilens, we saw her people, we saw how she reveled, like in revelry and whatever she says in her battle lines. And it was a nice story, although it was shoehorned into the main quest at this really unfortunate place. Like it just didn't really fit well into the main story, but I'll get to that later. After that we had Heng in his new form and March in her Evernight form. Both of them were amazing. I think that was one of the most beautiful patches ever. Like 3.6 is amazing. And then obviously we end with Cyrene. Now overall, the story is nice. Like I said, the story is very nice, very heartwarming and whatever. The main problem that I felt with Amphoreus was the length of the dialogues. Like sometimes, like when these characters started speaking, it didn't just feel like they were speaking. It felt like they were reading paragraphs from a book, or reciting poems, or speaking literature, something that you would write. Like written English and spoken English is very different, and I do realize that these Chinese the Chinese literature is written that way, but when you're designing a game, when you're having in-game dialogues, those have to be kind of like spoken English, because you want the person to feel that that a scene is being played out and you can relate to them easily. If I wanted to read a book, I would obviously open a book Like, make Amphoreus into a entire visual novel or a novel or a graphic novel or whatever, and I would 100% buy it, and I would read all of the dialogues that you have written with full attention, with full detail, and with interest. But when I'm playing a video game, it just doesn't translate well. Like, the novel language does not translate well into video game language. And that is a huge problem with many gacha games that I've seen. Like, I think Wuthering Waves is kind of improving on that aspect. FGO does it really well. Genshin is improving as well. In Nordcran and Natlan, I felt that these characters were actually talking to each other instead of reciting poems and speaking literature. So they are slowly and gradually improving, and I do hope that Star Rail will also reach that point one day, hopefully very soon in 4.0, because I do not want to sit through 7 hours, 8 hours of patches, just listening to the same sentence being repeated in different forms. Like, I am an ICSE student. For Indians, I know how to rewrite one line into 20 lines. That's what I was taught in English. But I do not want to see it in a video game. I've done that stuff. I do not want to have a repeat of it. So that is the thing. The dialogues were too flowery for my taste. I did understand the meaning of them, but once again, when stuff gets too flowery, too long, you just start to lose interest, and that was what I felt during some patches of Amphoreus, mainly 3.0, which is where I called Amphoreus disappointing. And then I think during Mydei's quest with the dude with the mask and the dude, I don't remember his name, but yeah. And then there was I think 3.2, where we didn't get enough lore on Castorice or something. Like, it was just too much. I don't even remember certain points, but I do remember cribbing about it. What I do remember that I liked was Tribbie's story. I found Phainon's story enjoyable, although I'm not a huge fan of his character. Like, I think I'm the only one who is not a Phainon simp. Like, I don't really care about him, but I do appreciate his story. I do like him as a character, and he's kind of like the best bro. I always treat him like a best bro. Even in my gameplay videos, if you've seen them, I'll always be like, hey partner, what's up, let's go. We're not gonna go full on simping each other. We're just gonna stay friends, keep that line between us. And then after that, I think Hyacine's patch. That patch is, I think, the best patch in all of Amphoreus's patches. Like, I think the patch with Hyacine where we fight Aglaea at the end with Proi Blair going on our speakers, like, sounding loud and all. It was kind of cool. And with Celiosi's story, although it wasn't necessary, because I don't really see the fact that how Celiosi was important after Hyacine's patch. Nobody even mentioned her, but still, she was voiced by Maui Kazuya, so I mean, I just like her. Cipher's story was really good. Cipher's sacrifice, Cipher's twist, like the twist that she wore for Amphoreus, was a really nice twist. Phainon's story was basically his sufferings and all, and how he became the Flame Reaver, and how then he fought to become the destruction, fight the nuke. Cerydra and Hysilens were kind of an odd place, and I still don't resonate with them that much. Even Hysilens, I mean, I do like her because she is a DOT character and she works perfectly well with my one and true wife of Star Rail, Kafka. But overall, I think Cerydra and Hysilens were a major drop in quality, which was then improved by March and Dan Heng, because we got back with the Trailblazer gang. And that patch 3.6, which I think is probably the second best patch in the Amphoreus saga, showed me that the Trailblaze trio with the Trailblazer, March and Dan, that is the core of Star Rail. Just like how in Genshin, while many people disagree with me, in Genshin, Paimon is the essence of Genshin. You remove Paimon and Genshin isn't what it is. Or in Arknights you remove Amiya, or in FGO you remove Mash. isn't what the game has to be. In for Star Rail, I believe that March and Dawn and the Trailblaze trio, the trio makes Star Rail what it is. The trio kind of reminds me of the Percy Jackson trio or the Harry Potter trio, and it's really nice. Like, I like the chemistry, I like the dialogues between them. So that's why I think 3.6 was a major step up, because it involved the core trio of the game. It's kind of sad that their model upgrades would not translate into future patches. So Adult Dawn Heng and Evernight March is only for Amphoreus, sadly, unless they want to come and bring out their old selves in future patches for something. But I don't really see how that would work out, especially for Dawn Heng, because his was Terravox's something, and it's kind of linked to Amphoreus. So I mean, yeah. But then after that, 3.7 happened, the grand finale, and Cyrene dropped. Now, I had seen all the doom posting regarding Cyrene and the hate around her, but overall I liked Cyrene as a character. I was quite fond of the small version of her. It's kind of sad for me that they made her big in all respects, but I kind of like small Cyrene. The big Cyrene is still cool, and 3.7 explains why big Cyrene looks like big Cyrene, and then small Cyrene is another entity. Overall, the story of 3.7, while it was nice, I believe that they could have cut down on the dialogues a lot, because a lot of it was continuously being told to us throughout the patch. Like, Cyrene writing "as I've written" was told to us for, I don't know, even I think more than 20-30 times. Like, "as I've written," and that will be known as I've written, and that "as we've written," and "as we have written," and whatever. And I don't know why Cyrene was so obsessed with the "as I've written" book. Like, I get it. You tell me one time, you tell me 2 times, that's it. But for some reason, she wanted to tell us throughout the entire patch. I like the concept of, her being obsessed with love because she did not understand what it is. It kind of reminded me of Detroit Become Human, where these robots, where you play as those androids and you basically want to become human. You want to understand what a human is. And the core aspect of a human being, I think, is their emotions. And even in their emotions, you can make someone feel anger or fear or sadness, but love is something that, I don't know, just comes from within. Like, it's tough to make somebody love something. So I think in that respect, I kind of liked Cyrene's obsession with love. I wasn't a huge fan of the Trailblaze simping, but I mean, it kind of works. I mean, it kind of works. She's marketed as this great waifu of your Trailblazer, kind of like Firefly, even more than Firefly, honestly. But like, I mean, it's okay. I have no comments on that. As a Cyrene fan, I literally have no comments on that. But I can understand where people who weren't Cyrene fans are coming from. Like, like, I understand your perspective. It's kind of the same like with me and Phainon, honestly. Like, I understand your perspective where you just absolutely love Phainon and he is the greatest being of all time, and I'm like, yeah, okay. It's kind of like that, but it's like, let's just not talk about that. Overall, it was nice. I wish Amphoreus had more fights in the main game. The boss fights that we had were spectacular like usual. Star Rail does epic moments, really epic. Hype moments are always hyped by great soundtrack, great scenes, great cutscenes. The thing that I don't like in Star Rail is the lack of animations in normal cutscenes and the length of pre-rendered cutscenes. Like, these pre-rendered cutscenes only last for 30 seconds, 40 seconds at max, maybe 2 minutes if it's an animated cutscene, but then that animated cutscene is also released on YouTube, so it barely makes a difference. It barely makes it unique to the game. So overall, I wish Star Rail improved on their cutscene aspect, on their animation aspect. Now, I've given them 1 year. I've given them 1 year on Amphoreus, because I know Amphoreus was set in stone when we raised the complaints, when people raised the complaints regarding the animations, regarding the storytelling. So I'm hoping that in the future, in 4.0, wherever we go with, probably the Elation, because it was really teased at the end of the Amphoreus quest with Sparkle. So wherever we go with the path of Elation, I hope that the storytelling improves massively. Like, kind of like the difference between Fontaine and Natlan, or the difference between Natlan and Nordcry, where you see a direct difference in the animations. Like, it's so evident over there. Or even take Wuthering Waves, for example, with the Huanglong arc and the Renacita arc. It was done magnificently well, and I wish Star Rail has something like that in the future. Apart from that, things that I did not like, there was the dialogue, and then there's the lack of, major fights apart from the boss fights. I think the story was good. Like, that's it. Like, I don't really have anything other to hate on, because after witnessing the end of Amphoreus, I'm so tired of it. I'm so tired of this journey right now. I can't feel anything but relief. It's like I'm glad it's over. I'm just so glad. And the one line, the story was emotional. I really liked the "see you tomorrow" line. It kind of resonated with me, and it's probably one of the few lines that always makes me tear up when I'm playing Amphoreus. Like, whenever a character said, "see you tomorrow," and I'm like, that gets the feels for me. But overall, if I had to give it a number, I would probably give it a 7 on 10. Like, a 7 on 10 works really well. 7.5 on 10. There are a few stuff that I did not like, obviously, and I have made it quite clear. I don't really speak a lot on the negative stuff, because people would just attach themselves to that particular point and then go like, "You hate this thing, you are a hater, you do not like anything, stop playing this game," this and that. So, like, it's kind of tough to express your opinions on negative stuff, but I've tried to be as neutral as possible while expressing the problems that I had with Amphoreus. The gacha is also another thing. Like, there weren't any 4-star characters in Amphoreus, so I could not really get attached to them. And in gacha games, I feel that once you get the character on your account, that's when your attachment starts to grow, because you start using them, you start understanding them, you read their profiles, you read their kits, and you start to use them in your team. So that bond generally grows. And that's what I experienced with Natlan, because in Genshin's Natlan, I got every Natlan character. So that region just became my favorite, because I resonated with every character over there. And in Amphoreus, I got Aglaea, I got Tribbie, I have Castorice, I have Cipher, I have Hyacine, I got the Phainon Heng, and yeah, that's about it. And even after that, like, I'm gonna say, even Aglaea came, I think, in 2 times. Like, on the first banner I got Aglaea because she was guaranteed, and then even Aglaea came after I won my 50-50 in a long time. I lost the 50-50 for Tribbie on the first banner, so I got guaranteed Castorice. I lost Castorice's Light Cone banner, so I had to use my pulls to get Castorice's Light Cone. I still don't have Saber on my account because I lost the 50-50 to Jeopard. I do not have Hyacine. I just recently got Hyacine in this patch because, I really wanted her for my Castorice team. I got Cipher. I think I lost the 50-50 on when Hyacine and the Herta ran, so I used my guaranteed for Cipher. I got Cipher. And then after that, the Phainon Hung. I got Tribbie when Phainon ran. So it's kind of like a mixed bag of stuff. I don't really have a lot of Chrysos airs, but still, overall, I think, the way that they presented these characters and all. And also, yeah, I have a Hysilens. So, like I said, if they had any few 4-star characters, I probably would have resonated with them because they are easier to get and they could have been given out in certain events. So I think in the future, I just hope that they make more 4-star characters so that people can bond with these characters. Like, take Aino and Yehoda and Genshin for instance, or take Kachina and Auroron. I like them. or Eonson. I like them because they are 4-star characters. Many people might have them. They are great 4-star characters, and they were used in the story. They were extensively used in the story, and their role wasn't diminished just because of their rarity. So I do believe that Star Rail can do this. I just hope they do it someday. But those were basically the major 3 points that I had my problems with, regarding Amphoreus. But overall, it was a nice story. It was worth experiencing it. Like, take out the flowery language and take out the boring animations and all. But if this was a novel, if Amphoreus was released as a novel titled as I've written, I would have glazed the hell out of it, because it is an absolutely beautiful novel. And the epilogue, you must play the epilogue, because that fixes so many things regarding the main quest, and it literally fills you with a certain different kind of happiness. Like, I don't know, it's kind of a bittersweet happiness, but you just feel happy that it's not the most tragic end that you're thinking. So that is it. That was my opinion on Amphoreus. I'm glad it changed, because at the start of this year I was quite close to dropping Star Rail due to Amphoreus, but I persevered. I thought that it can't be this bad. They would probably improve. So I'm glad that I stuck with this game. I'm glad that you guys supported my videos, and I hope you keep on supporting me in the future. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe to support me, obviously, and in the end I just want to say, see you tomorrow. Goodbye.
Stay strong. Eyes forward. Always. See you tomorrow, Amphoreus.